Hi, welcome. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate AppTemplater and CAPGEN. If you'd like more information about how you can install and use these tools, visit the GitHub pages that are linked in the description of this video. There's some additional information as well as getting started information for both these tools. But for now, we're going to jump right into it. So I'm using Visual Studio Code. Business Application Studio is fine to use in this case as well. I've already followed the getting started instructions of cloned the GitHub repositories and completed the steps. So we are now ready to run the application, and we can do this with simply a CDS serve command. We'll open it up in our web browser and go straight into the web application. So rather than create a service completely from scratch, we're going to use this load template functionality and load a template that comes bundled with the application. And we can just go ahead and select load and refresh. And a travel service has been loaded for us. We're going to build on this in this video, and I hope you'll get to see some of the key features in that process. If we have a look at this service that has been loaded, we can see it's a travel service and there's three entities. We've got travel, booking, and booking supplement. And down here, we can see that travel has many bookings and a booking has many booking supplements. And say if we were to go into the travel entity, you can see a number of fields have been defined for this travel entity with their types. We can see that the UUID is the key. Line display means these fields will appear in the list view, and detailed display means they'll appear in the object page. These are the order that they'll appear. We've also have the ability to set a filter read only, optional, mandatory, hidden. And then we've also assigned some fields to some facets here, which are actually defined down here. So going back, we are going to create three new entities, and the entities are going to be a passenger entity. So booking has many passengers. And then passengers is going to have a child entity called passenger upgrades, and this will maintain a list of upgrades the passenger has selected, such as a meal, a seat, or a movie. And the third entity is the upgrades entity. It's a master data entity and will store that upgrade information for us. So to go ahead and create a new entity, we can hit the create, and we need to define the entity name. So this is called passenger. Passengers is the plural, and passenger. We're going to say this entity has some validations, and we're going to define for this entity three fields. So the first one is a UUID, second one is the passenger's name, and the third one is the passenger's age. And if we tick this box and say pre-filled labels, the labels will generate for us, and we can specify some types, so UUID, string, and integer, and the passenger name will give it a 50 character limit. The UID is a key, and we both want the name and the age in the line display and the detail display. We're going to make the UUID hidden. We're going to make both of these mandatory parameters. And lastly, we're just going to create a facet, and the facet is going to be called passenger details. And we can pre-fill the label again. And we can then assign that field to the facet here. Perfect. So we're done with that entity. And now let's go ahead and create that master data entity. So we go ahead and create, and this is going to be called upgrade. And this time, because it's not a managed entity, we want to hit this entity master data entity. We also want it to generate the data file so we can put some initial information in there. Now this is only going to have two fields. It's going to have an upgrade type and an upgrade name. Let's pre-fill these entities. Both are going to be strings, and we'll say it's a 10 and a 20 character difference, and we'll say it's a key. Now we're going to select line display here because this means these two fields will appear as value in the value help. So select those two. The rest we can remain as is, and we'll go apply. Okay, and next we can create the passenger upgrades entity. So let's go ahead and do that. We need a space there. Passenger upgrade. Okay, and now this is going to have 3 fields. So a passenger upgrade UUID. Let's put a price in and some comments. Okay, we'll fill the labels. So UUID, price, we'll make it decimal and we'll go 16/-3. And comments, we're just going to give it a string. This is the key. We both want these. Now we don't want an object page for this because it will have no children. It's the end of the hierarchy. So we'll just keep it as in the list view. Let's hide the UUID. We don't want to see it. We'll make the price mandatory, but we'll keep the comment optional. And this, we want to be able to use this master data entity, which is created called upgrades, to select an upgrade type. What we're going to do is we're going to change the sort order to this field to 4 and this one to 3. And we can see slot 2 is empty. So down here, we're going to create a value help. So let's go ahead and create that. The value help name is going to be passenger upgrade type. And let's once again just fill those entities. And we want to tell it what entity is the collection for this value help. And so that's just the upgrades entity. And the text field is the name. We want the name to appear. We want it to appear in the line item display. We want this one to be mandatory. And we want this to appear in second spot. So we'll go number 2. Okay, done. Now, lastly, on the entities, I'd actually like to create an action. And this action is going to be called get quote. And it's going to be on the passenger entity. And before, say, we enter the upgrades, we might just want to get a price on that's what's going to cost. So we're going to create a new action in the passenger entity. We'll go create, and we'll call it get quote. And get quote. And it's going to actually have 3 fields. So movie, meal, seat. Okay, let's pre-fill those. And they're all going to be booleans. And so when you run this action, you'll select which upgrades the customer wants, and then it will return a price. Now you'll have to implement that logic yourself, but the action will be there ready for you to implement. So we'll hit apply. Perfect. And apply once more. And let's just save it for good measure to run some validations, and it looks like everything was all good. Go into edit again because we need to then put our new entities into these associations. So let's create a new association. And so a booking has many passengers, and passenger has many passenger upgrades. We'll put those in there. Okay, lastly, let's define some roles. So we might want a role that only has read access, and then an admin role that can do everything. So let's go ahead and create 2 new roles. So we'll hit create. Let's call it travel viewer. And let's go viewer. And this is the test user that will be created for us. And we can fill in the entities down here, or we can hit this fill entities button and then say we want read, and it will fill everything in for us. So then we can just hit apply. And let's create the same thing but for admin. So travel admin. And we'll call that admin at t.com and initial as the password. Once again, let's just hit this fill entities like this. Okay, fill, save it, and save it once more. Okay. So now we've completely modeled the service that we want. We've added 3 new entities, we've added some new associations and some roles and some actions. We'd like now to generate the file that is used as an input into the CAPGEN tool to generate our working project. And to do this, once it's saved, we can hit this generate template and we need to enter a name. So let's enter a name and we'll just call it post demo and hit generate. We can see down here that it says the file has successfully been generated. So let's go back over to VS Code now. And if you see this template files directory here, the new template file has dropped in here. And so if you provided a template file by someone and you'd like to load it into the tool, you can simply drop it into this directory here. And then when you do that load template action that we originally went, it would be an option for you to load. The next step is to run the CAPGEN tool. Now, prior to this, I set up a new project, and by new project, I created an empty directory in my projects, where I keep all my projects, called travel. And underneath travel, I created another empty directory called load template. And then I've simply just opened this in Visual Studio. Um, and so what we want to do is we want to take this load file that we generated, and we want to just simply drag and drop it into the load template directory. Okay, maybe we'll copy and paste it. Copy, and we'll simply paste it into there. So this is where all our project files are going to get generated after we've run the CAPGEN tool. Now what you want to do is you want to open a terminal and make sure that you are in the travel directory. So your working directory is the project directory, not the load template directory. So to run the CAPGEN tool, we simply type the command CAPGEN. Now we need to tell it where the template file is, and this is relative path, and we do this with the F flag, so -F, and then we need to say, so it's in load template / and then the template file name, so .json. Okay. Now we need to also tell it what the root node is, what the root entity is for the Fury application. So we'll type in -R for that. That's the flag, and we simply type in travel because travel is our root entity in this scenario. So you're going to see how lightning quick this tool is for generating the files. I'm just going to hit enter now, and it's done. As you can see, very quickly, all these files generated on the left here. Now, if we go to the GitHub page quickly, you can see that after you run the tool, it says run an npm install, and then we can do a CDS watch. So what we're going to do is we're going to run that npm install now, and then we're going to have a little bit of a poke around. So as you can see, the service file has been created and with our actions. Same with the authorizations, and we could have a look at our role definitions here, and our test users it's created over here. And you can see that there's stubs for the, I think this was the validation box we ticked, and this is our action ready to be implemented here. If we were to jump over into the database, we can see the schema has been created. And If we had a look at the Fury app, the annotations are there, the value help is here, and all the localization here is all quite nicely done. In the DB data file, you can see that because we ticked that flag for some of the entities, these files have been created ready for us to put some data in. We're going to go to the upgrade file, and we're just going to populate this with some options. So meal, we'll call that meal selection, seat selection, and lastly, movie is going to be called in-flight entertainment. Okay, and we can save that. The npm install has been successful. We've saved this file, and now we're ready to run it and view the project. So we'll just simply type in CDS watch. I might just check that I've stopped this. Okay, and CDS watch. Okay, the project's now running. And we can go straight into the web application. And if we hit go, it's going to ask for credentials. So we'll just type in this admin user we created, and the password was initial, and we'll hit sign in, and we can now go ahead and create a new entity. And so for bookings, let's go have a look at the entities we created. So we can go create. It's got the booking supplements that was already there, but this new passenger entity has been created. So let's go ahead and create a new passenger. We can see that the age and the name are both mandatory as we specified. We can create new passenger upgrades, and you can see here that the value help is already completed for us. We can enter price information in here. We can hit apply. And if we select this passenger and then say get quote, we can see here that this action with these parameters has been automatically generated for us. We can hit apply and create. And obviously there's still development work that you're going to have to do to make this application working. But the tools have gone a long way in doing some of that initial boilerplate development that we all have to do. So that's it for the demo. I hope you learned something, and if you do decide to download and install the tools, I hope they're useful to you. But please let us know if you do find any bugs, or if you've got any feedback, or if you've got suggestions for features for future releases. So thank you.